This is how you control the narrative in an interview. So I watched Jay-Z's GQ interview. This is his first major interview after a ton of controversy in the last year. We're talking how his name appeared in the Epstein files, the now dismissed sexual assault lawsuit filed against him a little over a year ago, his proximity to the broader fallout around Diddy, and just a general year of scrutiny around his reputation. So he's being interviewed to push the 30th anniversary of his debut album, Reasonable Doubt. And this interview shows me that he is a master at taking the conversation exactly where he wants it to go and avoiding tough topics without it looking like he's avoiding tough topics. I saw someone comment on the YouTube video, Jay-Z interviewed himself, and that is a great summary. Not because the interviewer Fraser Tharp wasn't good. He was. He's clearly a real fan. He knows the catalog. He quoted his lyrics throughout. Also, they're obviously connected outside of this chat because he references past email conversations that they had. This all makes the interview better, but it also means Jay never really has to leave his own world. And you see that pretty clearly. So he's asked how he'd rate the last year, which, considering everything, is obviously coming. So that question isn't random, it's the question. And Jay knows it.
I'm glad we got right to that.
That line is doing a lot because it tells you he expected it, he was ready for it, and he wanted to move through it quickly so that he could get to the version of the story that he really wants to tell. He answers it like this.
It was hard. Really hard. I was heartbroken.
So immediately, the interview is framed around his emotional experience. He avoids all talk of the allegations, all talk of the speculation and headlines, and he goes solely into how it felt. And then he builds on that.
That shit took a lot out of me. I was angry.
So now you're fully inside his perspective. And the interviewer feels like he's got enough emotion from him that feels like an exclusive news headline, which actually did happen. Check this out. And then he gives you the frame for the rest of the interview.
We played enough defense. 2026 is all offense.
There's the pivot. So everything that follows sits inside that idea. Jay-Z is moving forward. And what's interesting is how the interviewer helps him stay there. Because instead of pushing him somewhere unfamiliar, he keeps entering through Jay's own work. And you really feel that when they get into 444. Because instead of it being framed as scandal or confession, this is the album that covers him cheating on Beyonce and the responsibility that he feels towards his children. Jay frames it himself.
444, though it's the hardest album for me to make. Still hard to, I can't even listen to 444. It's the album that I was always afraid to make. It's just pure and just vulnerable.
And then he shifts it when he talks about taking the album out on tour.
Live every night. It was so healing.
So even his most vulnerable work becomes part of a controlled arc. Pain, vulnerability, healing. And then there's the Kendrick and Drake moment, which is probably the clearest example of what he's doing across the entire interview. Because the question is really direct.
What did you think of the 2024 back and forth between him and Drake?
That's a pick a side question. And Jay just doesn't engage with it like that. He immediately zooms all the way out.
There are 4 pillars of hip hop. Right?
And from that point on, he completely shifts his position. He's no longer someone in the conversation. He becomes someone above it. He starts talking about breakdancing and graffiti and DJing and battling. He's mapping the culture from a rap elder statesman view, not reacting to it. And then slowly he brings it back to the present, but not in a way that involves either of them directly.
We love the excitement, but in this day and age, it's so much negative stuff that comes with it.
So now it's not about Kendrick or Drake, it's about what rap beef does now. And then he moves it again.
People that like Kendrick hate Drake.
Yeah.
No matter what he makes.
Now it's about fan behavior. And
now you have these pods of cult.
The stan armies.
Now it's about social media. And then he lands it here.
It was trying to tear down the people's life, wreck this guy's marriage or this guy's relationship with his child.
That's the line. He turns it into something bigger than music. And by the time he says this,
I don't know if battling needs to be part of the culture anymore.
He's positioned himself as someone looking at the culture again from a distance, not someone caught inside it. And then he closes the loop with this.
Oh, Jay-Z. For what? To what end?
Which is him pushing back on the idea that he should even be connected to this at all. And that is the pattern across the entire interview. He doesn't avoid the hard questions. He just decides what they mean. He takes whatever he's asked and he brings it back to identity, to legacy, to growth, the things that he actually wants to talk about. So yeah, Jay-Z interviewed himself is a great take. It's also really funny, but it's more a masterclass in being so prepared, so aware of what's coming, and so clear on what story you want attached to your name. Jay-Z knows he can't control the narrative by dodging questions, but he can control it by deciding where the answer goes. I'm Poppy Reed. I tell stories about music, film, and culture. Hit follow for more.